I will now invite Mr. Adrian Augier to address the company.
Chancellor Sir George Alleyne, Vice Chancellor Professor E. Nigel Harris, other members of the Platform Party, their excellencies and heads of state, honorable prime ministers and other ministers of government, we are very appreciative of your presence here today. My fellow honorary graduate, Dr. Lennox Honeychurch, graduating class of 2012, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. To be honored in this way by this esteemed academic community is to receive profound affirmation that the work one has done and hopes to continue is both relevant and worthy. For this, I will remain deeply grateful to the Chancellor, the Senate, and the Council of this University of the West Indies. I must confess that I am particularly pleased with the timing of this gesture, being not so fond of posthumous accolades, especially for myself. Moreover, to be asked to address this class of 2012 is a further honor which I accepted, because it is unwise to refuse such a request from someone who knew you when you were a babbling adolescent. Professor Hazel MacDonald, who begged me not to mention her name in her usual modesty, now Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of UWI, Open Campus, taught me literature some 30 years ago, yes, before most of you were born, back in St. Lucia. And it is heartwarming to know that she is still so proud of me, as she expressed many times in these last few days. And it's even better to know that she will be held partly responsible for any inept poetry I inflict upon you in the course of this address. Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, I have never before donned the gown and cap, nor walked the hallowed halls to actually receive a degree or diploma. This could be because on a deeply felt matter of principle, I led a boycott of what would have been my A-level graduation ceremony. After that, I suppose my reputation preceded me. All other diplomas arrived by mail. So this is truly a first and a very, very special moment in my life. Notwithstanding its huge significance, I do not think this conferment will change me a great deal. In the recent words of the First Lady of the United States, high office reveals rather than transforms who you are. Michelle could not be here this morning. But I'm sure she would welcome your support in November. And in the meantime, I am accompanied by 4 very elegant and beautiful ladies in the front row. My mom, my aunt, my dear friend from the States, and my wonderful wife who has been so tolerant over these many years. I'm grateful for your presence and support. This honorary doctorate will undoubtedly reinforce the overwhelming sense of responsibility under which I labor, hoping for change, hoping for enlightenment and improvement in the world which I inhabit. I found these words by Abraham Lincoln, which I think put it quite well. He said, "I have an irrepressible desire to live, till I can be assured that the world is a little better for my having lived in it." Lincoln became president, won the Civil War, ended slavery, and for his troubles was assassinated in 1865. Fortunately, my ambitions are not that grand. But closer to home and heart, I do believe that most Caribbean people know and understand that a worthy and rewarding life is seldom just about our individual needs. I think we know that our sense of community and shared responsibility binds us and builds us in ways that other cultures may have long forgotten. This excerpt from the title poem of Navel String explains. When we were young and poor and wise, and still held each other in each other's eyes, and forced for want of means to share alike each other's joys and miseries. We marked each birth by planting navel strings, and lacking alternative device, erected trees, great branching memories to bless the spot where to more abundant life we bound ourselves, mere shriveling flesh, proffered to eternal earth, rock to sinew, root to bone, and so forever to this place. It would have to do. This new island soil, however small and shallow, but not without its blessing of our blood. The rivulets of mud at least will redden when the late rains come to remember us to home. Notwithstanding this intimate knowledge, which I believe we still possess, I think we are in danger of forgetting that this higher education, which shapes minds and lives and so our very future, must also reinforce our dedication to that great enterprise which is Caribbean society. Unless we hold firm to that cause, we will be overrun by the ethics of convenience, the economics of scarcity, the politics of expedience, and our own blind and unbridled materialism. That development model, whose offspring include crime, poverty, violence, ignorance, and alas, corruption, is patently unsuitable to our needs and circumstances and has not worked anywhere in the world. So if higher education is to count for anything, we must resist the hopeless passivity and have the audacity to design a better way for ourselves and for our children. No doubt, the university is painfully aware that there is a shift in the constitution of students entering its walls, aware that primary and secondary education processes are de-emphasizing Caribbean literature, history, civics, geography, and linguistics. In other words, de-emphasizing the humanities, that which make us human, in favor of such practical subjects as principles of accounting and principles of business, which are all very good, but which do not give us any sense of who we are in this wonderful global marketplace. And marketplace is the operative word. I suspect I am not alone in this impression that we are in danger of forgetting that this Caribbean of ours was built diligently, one generation at a time, stone upon stone, hand upon hand. And to quote again, lacking certain options, our people eased off the yoke of ignorance and dependency by leveraging their labor and some land, and rose out of that regimented soil with its settled strata, and intimately held themselves together with the kind of dignity that poverty and missing options must impose. In our little island theater, we became the leads, characters in the dramas of our own lives, and managed to love and prove that size held no dominion over determination. Given our unprecedented accomplishments in art, sport, science, politics, economics, medicine, engineering, and so many other fields, the diminution of our communal sense of responsibility, our collective ethos, is the thing that most confounds me about contemporary Caribbean society. It distorts individual ambition, it distorts familial relationships, spoils community consciousness, erodes nation building and regionalism in ways that are anathema to our very survival. Sir Hilary Beckles, one of your own, in a recent emancipation lecture delivered in St. Lucia, spoke passionately about the striking incongruity between our historical experience and our current development models. The Venerable George Lamming writes about the sovereignty of the imagination and in the words of Anthony Brooks, beckons us towards the constructive use of this potential in building Caribbean society. Lamming himself warns, the way we see, the way we hear, our nurtured sense of touch and smell, the whole complex of feelings which we call sensibility, is influenced by the particular features of the landscape that has been humanized by our work. The logic then of de-emphasizing the humanities in our education processes, of forgetting who we are and this journey we are on, is lost to me. Economist Amartya Sen, winner of the 1998 Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences, has written extensively about welfare economics and social choice, linking development and freedom as twin parameters of development. Our own laureate, Sir Arthur Lewis, laid for us a sound foundation those many years ago. We seem to be abandoning it now. And to paraphrase the Honorable Derek Walcott, speaking of the great potential of the Caribbean, suggested that if there is nothing here, then there is everything to be built. So there is a wealth of wisdom, ladies and gentlemen, from which to draw. But that wisdom is daunted by a colossal lack of cohesion, the sort that allows governments to forget or postpone their contributions to their very own institutions of higher learning. As an artist, and I look at my watch, rapidly running out of time, I have to hope for enlightenment. I choose to believe that better can be done. As an economist, I know that there is cause and effect, cost and benefit, risk and return, but I cannot set aside the imperative that we must continue to evolve not just as economies, but as societies. For this to happen, there must be an enduring vision as well as the sustainable means to bring it about. Surely, this is not beyond us. There is enough human capital in this room alone to achieve it. We must believe that we can do this. And so I am challenging our leading institutions to stand above the narrow exigencies of small island politics and initiate a powerful dialogue which meaningfully addresses our future as a Caribbean society. Thank you. And I will name them: the University of the West Indies, repository of our wisdom; the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, repository of our wealth; the Caribbean Development Bank, repository of our development resources; CARICOM and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, custodians of our most cherished integration movement; the regional private sector and labor movements. Gentlemen, ladies, we cannot sit by and accept the status quo as a desirable outcome of our efforts these many years. So let us suspend our disbelief long enough to write that script which will shape the future of this region. Let us move to action so that within the next 12 months, before another graduation passes, our best minds and bodies, many of whom are gathered here today, will meet to review this tenuous path which we are on. In other words, let us give our graduates a fighting chance. And you graduates should accept nothing less. You deserve to live in the best of possible worlds. So do not merely busy yourself in the pursuit of a job, a car loan, and a mortgage. While seeking your individual fortunes, you must use your talents, your determination, your youthful energy to help create that space which is worthy of us all, a Caribbean society which reflects individual and collective wisdom, our creative energies, and the unlimited potential of this, our only Caribbean home. Let us show the world that we truly can be Oriens ex Occidente lux, a light rising from the west. In closing, I would thank my fellow honoree Dr. Lennox Honeychurch for his kind and generous words of tribute last night at the principal's dinner. By pure coincidence, he quoted from the same poem I have chosen as the epilogue to this address. I now offer you that piece in full. I hope it lingers in your mind and provokes us all to action. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to live without passion in a place that is part of you, to stay all level-headed when you feel the wind like it's your own hot breath. It's a hard thing when you know a place so well that you can tell from the smell inside the damp wood house and the dark drumming on the old zinc roof that August rain falling heavy like a rake and ripping away your skin from the very surface of the earth. It's a hard thing when in dry season you see all the soil crack up like a big brown heart that split apart, and all the happiness that come from loving green leaf and bubbling spring done gone and evaporate into air. That's a hard thing. To stay all cool and comfortable and smile for people that you know would mash up a place that is your home since before you born. Because 3 generations before you struggle till they buy a house and land together and get to own the place that their great-grandfather used to rent but could never buy in his one life before he died. It's a hard thing not to cry when this place is part of you, as much as the hand that hold the pen to write this thing, that same pen that your godfather give you when you pass for college, that pen with the deep, dark ink that flow like a bloodline from it. It's a hard thing. And you would know, because there must be a dose of shame or hope or something else inside you there besides this craving for a long time day, when we used to understand that history is not what people tell us, but part of who we are. Deep thinking people determined to tell our story under moonlit mango tree or street lamp or in painting or in poetry, or in that sweeter music that used to come bubbling up from deep inside a place where we were not, like now, afraid to go. Because we owe a debt, a loyalty to this landscape that sustains us, this earth that raised you, raised me, and should make you ask ancestors if it's all right to cut down a tree that is older than you, because somebody's navel string might be buried under there. It's a hard thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.